contracts were signed to buy buildings in City Hall.
Point of information, if I may, Mr. President. Point of information. But I just asked Councilor Bona how he knows that the city building inspector, housing inspector, he only made a comment.
Why don't you finish? Well, I don't want you jumping on him.
I'm not going to let him finish. He made a very serious charge.
I will.
Let him finish.
I'm sure I remember reading the transcript, so I'm sure we can find some transcript articles at that time where the people who sold their houses said how they were negotiating with the health inspector and how they were meeting in the mayor's office and how the city solicitor at the time was representing the city to negotiate those. I also believe the same situation is the solicitor of the city was also dealing with negotiations with the Mass Mocha property when Mass Melka was being developed. So I guess my concern is how is that not conflict then, but it's conflict now when it seems to be a lot of the same people involved.
May I also...
Well, if I could answer, because he...
Councilor Breen, then I'll go to you.
Wait a minute, Mr. President.
Wait a minute.
He made a charge.
Wait a minute.
He made a charge.
Let me run the meeting. Be quiet. Councilor Breen.
Listen, Mr. President.
Let me run the meeting.
Mr. President.
Can you be quiet?
President, I can address...
Can you be quiet?
Mr. President,
Can you be quiet? Councilor Breen.
Mr. President.
Can you be quiet?
I have a right on point of
I make a motion
information.
for recess.
I have a
Can you be quiet?
We have a motion and a second.
right.
Will you stop? Councilor Breen.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Wait,
I
you
have
have
a
to
Why
put
don't
on
you
my...
stop?
Your rules. Your rules.
Motion.
You're the one speaking up out of turn. Quiet.
Point of information. You
Unreal. Quiet. Councilor Breen, go ahead. Quiet.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second.
I think that I can continue.
No, this is ridiculous. You're constantly speaking up. Constantly.
Mr. President.
I'm sick of it.
Mr. President.
Councilor Breen, go ahead.
Mr.
Quiet.
President, I have a point of information.
No, I don't need to hear it right now. You're constantly speaking about a turn.
Point of information.
Councilor Breen, go ahead.
Point of information.
What do you want to hear from me? Councilor Breen.
Thank you. In reference to what Councilor Bona had just stated, I don't think that, I don't know, this may be very simple, but I don't think two wrongs make a right. So whatever happened in the past, I don't necessarily agree with either. I mean, I'm not saying that, I think that if the city solicitor is negotiating on the private side and on behalf of the city, that's a conflict of interest in any event. And I do think that maybe it was a conflict of interest in the past that no one brought up, maybe, potentially. I don't know all the facts of that. All I know are the facts of this. And I think it's pretty clear cut. And I'm not saying that John Rose is not a good attorney or anything like that, but I'm saying that he certainly shouldn't be... What I see are four people involved, whether it's the North Adams Partnership, the North Adams Development Trust. There's four people involved. One of them is the city solicitor in all of it. And the problem is that he shouldn't be on both sides. It's one or the other, and he would have to choose. Even with Mass Mocha. And I don't know anything else that happened. I'm sorry. I've only been here for a year, and I know there's a long history, probably 20 years of history here, but two wrongs don't make a right, and I certainly think that if there was a problem with the city solicitor in the past, maybe that could be addressed somehow, but I'm really concerned with the current issue, and I don't want to continue sort of the, overarching legal work he's doing in the private and public sector. So he would have to either, withdraw a little bit from, the RFP, the nonprofit, and just be the city solicitor, or choose one or the other. But certainly, he can't do both, in my opinion. And he couldn't do both in the past, so... Sorry, I'm a little... There's a lot of yelling in here, so I just want everyone to...
Anybody else?
Calm down.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President, just so you do know, there is in the rules where a member of the city council, duly elected, may ask the president, who was elected by this body, point of information. Can do that. So you can hammer me out till the cows come home. I really don't care. But I'm going to tell you something. You're wrong on that issue, and you should check it.
You didn't start with point of information.
Mr. President,
go ahead, finish. What's your point of information?
Are you admonishing me for the same thing?
What's your point?
My point being is that there is a point of information also on this particular thing in response to Councilor Bona. Councilor Bona, I want to refresh your memory on that. Those charges were made by a disgruntled person, a landlord and property owner over on River Street. And there was no meetings in the mayor's office at any time. You see, because we were turned in at that time by those people to the Inspector General and to you name it, who did an investigation. And there was no merit to that. So for you to say that, that's out of line. That really is, because that didn't happen. And that was, I believe, a disgruntled landlord who only doubled his money when he sold the house. But that being said, there's a difference here. And the clear difference is that things were done quietly in this particular matter. The Sons of Italy, if I said to the mayor, Mayor, can you tell me what was on the agenda the night that they purchased that property?